All right, with this 2007 crf250, he said the bike been sitting for a minute, and then he said he tried to do the top end or whatever, but the bike is not starting. Yeah, that's too much kicks, too many kicks. Time to sell. Yeah, man, so the first thing we're gonna check for is spark. Like always wanna check the spark. As you can see, the bike got a good spark. Definitely got a good spark. So next thing I'm gonna check is the valve clearance. See how the valve's looking. All right, so let's see what the valve clearance is. The valve clearance is actually good. All his clearances is good on this bike. Even the exhaust valve clearances. All of them sliding through smoothly. So the clearances is good, the valve clearance is good, the bike has spark. So now we're having another problem. So next, I'm gonna check the carburetor. Okay, now first thing I noticed with the carburetor is that this carburetor is missing a choke. It don't have a choke. So that's, that could definitely be a problem right there. So okay, I cleaned the carburetor and everything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try this choke, put this choke plunger in and see what happens. If that don't fix the problem, we have another problem. It's either maybe he put something in the top end wrong, the piston or something in wrong. It might be, something deeper, or a valve leak or something like that. But this is what I'm gonna start with first, and we're gonna see what happens. All right, man, so I tried to start the bike, with the choke and everything inside, and the bike still didn't start. So now it's definitely something in the top end that's not right. So now I'm gonna take the top end off and see what problems we having. All right, I got the cams and the cam holder and everything out. Now I'm gonna pull the head off. All right, man, I got the motor, the top end toe down. And the first thing I noticed is that this is the wrong piston that go for this bike. Because as you can see, like it have that mark that's pointing backwards. And that mark actually supposed to go forward. And so this piston come off a yz250f, a newer one. Because on the yz250f, the intake valves, which are bigger, goes to the front. And like on the CRF or something normal, the intake valves go in the back. So this is the wrong piston. This is a piston for a yz250f. And then with this head gasket, his head gasket looked like it was seeping water through. But other than that, like the crank look pretty good. The crank pretty good. Okay, now with this cylinder, this is an aftermarket cylinder. This is not an OEM cylinder. This is like more of a Chinese. I'd rather go OEM, And then, now with the cylinder head, the valve head, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna check and see if the valves have any leaks. See if the intake valves have leaks, or see if the exhaust valves have any leaks. Look like it's been shaved down, resurfaced. Okay, now it looked like the intake valves is not leaking. So the intake valves don't have no leaks coming through there by the seats. Next thing we're gonna see if the exhaust valves is leaking. Okay. Now the exhaust valves is also not leaking by the seats. Yeah, see, it's still dry around the seats. Nothing is seeping through. Okay, so he don't have any leaks at all on the valves, on the exhaust valves or intake valves. All right, so we got a good used piston and a good used cylinder, an OEM good used cylinder. And see, this is the piston that came out of it, and you could like see the difference between the pistons. Like, this is the wrong piston. This piston was a little too small. This piston was too small too. As you can see, this piston looks smaller than this piston, and that was causing the bike not to have no compression. So without the compression, the bike not gonna start. So this is the correct piston, the OEM regular piston, the original piston. Yeah, man. Now I got the OEM cylinder and the OEM piston in there. And as you can see, it fit perfect. The piston is fitting perfect. Because if the piston is too small, even too small by a millimeter or two, that could cause the bike to not have good compression. And the bike would be hard to start because of a loss of compression. Okay, one thing I noticed while putting these cam holders on is that they stripped inside. So we're gonna put some good used ones on there. All right, I got the good cam holders on now. As you can see, that's how the thread should look inside of it. So now I'm gonna put the cover back on. I got everything back together. Got coolant in it, coolant oil, everything in it. One thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put that subframe back on. Then we're gonna see if we got that V-touch. Yeah, man, so the bike put back together, complete. Like I said, the last thing he would need is that airbox, because the carburetor is wide open right now. We don't have no airbox, it's wide open. Other than that, we're gonna see if we got that V-touch. Nice pull. We're gonna do that V-touch hand kit.